Money is attracted to money. So if you are broke, the best thing you could do today is to become money. So for a long time, I was broke and I had debts piling up. And I felt hopeless and I was frustrated because I thought the only way I could ever pay off these debts and become financially stable was to get multiple jobs and work myself to exhaustion and then barely get by. And I know a lot of people can relate to this because unfortunately, most people can relate to being broke and frustrated and working multiple jobs than persons who can relate to being financially free or living a comfortable life. Until one day I came across that quote that eventually changed my perspective. The quote is, "Being broke is not a state of account, it's a state of mind." At first I didn't understand it because I was thinking my reality is that I am broke. That's not just a state of my mind. That's when I look in my account, there's no money. I have debt piling up. The next thing that's probably going to happen is the debt collectors are going to be calling. Don't tell me I'm not broke. But until I started to really meditate on what this quote was saying, I saw in the Bible, in Proverbs 23 verse 7, which says, "As a man think in his heart, so is he." And this is when the light bulb moment hit me. I realized that being broke wasn't just about my financial situation, it was about my mindset. The way I thought about myself and my financial state, that is what is shaping my reality. And from that, I began to understand that my reality was a reflection of my thought. And if I constantly told myself that I am broke, I am struggling, there is no hope, then this is exactly what my mind is going to focus on. And this is exactly what is going to expand in my life. But if I flip it, if I flip the narrative and started to think differently, think of myself as being rich and financially free and stable, then things would eventually change. And no, things are not going to magically change because you started thinking that way. But this is where the transformation will begin. And as the Bible tells us in Romans 12 verse 2, "Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." So basically, if you want your life to transform, you have to start renewing your mind. Science also proved that our mind cannot distinguish between what is real versus what we perceive to be real. So this basically means that whatever you focus on, if it's stress, if it's being broke, if it's being lack, that is exactly what is going to expand in your mind, because your mind is going to start thinking, oh, I think Naomi loved to be stressed. She loved living in lack. And this is what I am going to focus on and bring more of it into her life. But if I should flip that narrative and focus on peace, abundance, joy, success, prosperity, blessings, and favor, this is exactly what my mind will say. Okay, I think Naomi loved blessing. She loved being peaceful. She loved being happy. So guess what? I am going to focus on these things and I'm going to bring more of this thing to Naomi's life. This is exactly how our mind works. And if we should pay attention, we would be aware of this. This is not something new. It is just only being explained because this has been happening for a long, long time. And God knows this. He's the one who created us. And that's exactly why he said, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." So we become what we perceive and we think about ourselves. Whatever we think about, we bring about. If you're at the state where you're like, I am broke and I want to make more money, how can I become money? Here are 6 things that I have adopted over the past to help me go from a state of being broke to a state of being able to create financial freedom. Number 1 is to develop a God-centered mindset. When we look at Jesus' life, this is a perfect example of what a God-centered mindset was. And in the Bible, it tells us, "Let this mind be in us that was also in Christ," in Philippians 2 verse 5. An example of this is that whenever Jesus faced challenges and circumstances, he always see it as an opportunity for God to work miracles. When we look at the story of Jesus, this is exactly what happened. Every time he faced a challenge, a miracle always happened. If we can look at our challenges or or difficulties and see it as an opportunity for God to bless us, then this is exactly what we will eventually receive, because whatever we think in our mind, this is exactly what we will bring about. And there is this quote that tells us that our problems or challenges really come to make us stronger. I know it is easier said than done because I have faced this, but once you can create that mindset of God and Christ and think about it, that there is nothing that I can face that can bring me down, because I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And God will never give me more than what I can bear. And even so, He will make a way for me to escape and become stronger and better than what I just went through and receive the blessings. So if we could just look at our challenges from this perspective, so the fact that you're right now in a place where you're broke, just trust and believe that you're not here broke, because even though it's from the decisions that we have made, but trust and believe that there can be a wonderful blessing that come out of this, and you don't have to stay in the state of being broke for the rest of your life. The next thing to do is to become a person of value. Your value is not necessarily tied to the amount of money that you have in your account. It's more about what you can offer to the world. Your knowledge, your skills, your wisdom, your help, your support. What is it that you can do for others that they will quickly come to you and hand you their money? Because the money that you desire to have is not in your account, it's in someone else's pocket. And by being a person of value, this is how you will ethically and legally get the money from others, by serving them and being that person of value. And once you can serve people in such an amazing way, people will gladly give you their money. You don't have to stress, you don't have to worry about it, because the Bible tells, once you do this based on the principle that God has outlined, the Bible tells us the blessings of the Lord make it rich, and it had no sorrows to it. And these are principles that God has outlined for us to follow. The third thing I do is to become a person of value. True success lies in serving others. The Bible tells us in Matthew 23 verse 11, the greatest among you is your servant. So when we focus on helping others instead of seeking what we can gain from others, we align ourselves with God's principle for multiplication and success, and God's principle always works. Even though serving is counterintuitive to what the world teaches you about get mentality, it is God's principle. And we see a lot of successful people follow this principle, and it is fulfilled in your life. So if God can fulfill His principle in people's life who are not necessarily following Him, but because it's a principle that He has ordained, so when you follow it, you will get the reward. So how much so will He fulfill this principle in our life when we follow this principle as His children? When you serve selflessly, people will bless you even without asking. Serving actually opens the door for God's favor and opportunities in ways that nothing else can. The next thing I do is to make sure that I surround myself with people of value. Did you know that you are the average of the 5 people you surround yourself with? Most times we don't think about this, but it is really powerful. The people who are around us, they can either make you or break you. So if you surround yourself with negative, unmotivated people who are always draining your energy, nothing is going to be good in your life. But if you can surround yourself with people who uplift you, inspire you, and empower you to grow and to develop and influence you to elevate yourself, that is exactly what you will become. And if you don't have those people in your immediate surrounding, don't be afraid to find people on the internet, because this is what I do. Most of the people who elevate me and inspire me are not the people who are necessarily in my surrounding. It's the people online. And if you can learn from them and follow them and do what they teach you to do, you will eventually become like them. And this is not about copying and being like others. It's about developing yourself and not being afraid to elevate yourself by learning from others. Trust me, this is going to be so beneficial to you, because the Bible tells us in Proverbs 15 verse 22, plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors they succeed. So surround yourself with people who can give you wise counsel and help you to prosper. You will never regret it. And remember, they don't have to be in your immediate circle. They can be people who are online who you follow and you do what they teach. The next thing I did was I stopped trying to get rich quick, because I had the tendency, whenever I tried something and it didn't work out in the time that I was expecting it to work, I would switch and go over to something because it's taking too long. But this has never worked for me. The get rich quick thing, it doesn't work, because the Bible tells us plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as ace leads to poverty. So when you ace to do something, you're only ending up in poverty. And all I did was spend my money on this thing and that thing, and it didn't work out. Trying to get rich quick often leads to poor decision, compromising your values, or even skipping important steps. We have to keep in mind that God operates on divine timing. While He can accelerate our process, He will not violate His principles. So wealth built on diligence and integrity will last, but wealth gained hastily will be fleeting. So trust God's timing and put in the work, because it's a done deal. The next thing I practice is to be a go-giver, not a go-getter. Give and it will be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. It will pour into your lap, according to Luke 6, verse 38. Giving is a very powerful principle that will take you from lack to a place of complete abundance. Here's the thing. Sometimes when you're in this place of lack, you think that you don't have anything to give. And a lot of us desire to give, and we would say, if only I could have more money, if only I could have more of this and more of that, then I would be able to give. But trust and believe that wherever you are right now, you are still in a position to give. There is someone else that is probably worse than you, and you can be of value to them by giving from what you have. Even if it's not money, you could give your time, you could give your knowledge, you could give your effort, you can give in some way, in some shape and some form. And also what I have realized, that giving is so powerful that even when you are in a state where you think you're in lack and you desire for things to happen, if you can be a person to give, it will make you feel so abundant, and it will give you purpose and fulfillment, because you feel like, oh, I'm actually able to give even though I desire to have these things. Giving is a very powerful principle that not only blesses others, but also opens the door for increase in your life. Giving actually shift your focus from lack to a state of abundance. It reminds you that you have purpose and you can make a difference in life no matter what your current state is. It is so powerful. God always honors those who give, no matter how small it is. So do not despise your small beginning. Give where you're at and watch God do the rest, because He is the God of multiplication and abundance. The next thing to do is application. These principles are really powerful, and believing in them is the foundation and it's where things start, but it isn't enough. You must take action, because James tells us faith without work is dead. So start applying these principles today and you will begin to see the shift in your life. If you're ready to take practical steps towards building financial freedom, I have shared a free training. The link is in the description box. These are some practical steps that I have applied that has helped me to go from a state of being broke to building financial freedom and wealth. This training will give you actionable steps to start making money online. Even if you have never made $1 online before, you have no previous experience, or you don't own your own business. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this was very empowering and educational to you, and you now fully understand that you're not broke. It's just a state of your account, and you now know the practical steps and the principles to apply to get from a state where you are broke in your account to a state of abundance and freedom, financial freedom. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Let me know in the comment how this was helpful. Peace out. Bye.